everyone, Brian Moore here again. Thanks for tuning in. In this episode, I'm going to talk about how to create more backspin with your wedges, or perhaps better said, what conditions need to be met in order to create backspin with your wedges, or the maximum amount of backspin. And the answer to that question is friction. It's friction between the ball and the club face that creates spin. And the more stick you have, or the more friction you have, the longer that ball stays on the club face and the more it will spin. So when you see those pros on television hit those low driving wedge shots in there that take one hop and come to a screeching halt, they're creating a lot of friction between the ball and the club face at impact. And there are certain criteria or conditions that need to be met in order to create all that friction. So let's start with the golf ball here first. In order to create a lot of spin, you need to be using a premium golf ball, like a Pro V1 or a TaylorMade TP. The hard distance balls are not really designed to spin. They're designed to actually spin less, so they'll actually perhaps maybe go a little bit further. But the problem with the hard ball is that it's got a hard cover on it, and it just doesn't have enough soft stickum on it, and the ball just wants to run up the face and not spin too much. The premium balls, on the other hand, have a softer cover, and they're internally designed to spin a lot more. Number two, you need to have a premium wedge, a good wedge that has sharp, fresh grooves on it and a nice, freshly milled club face. And it also can't have any dirt or gunk on it when you're hitting your shot. We don't want to have any dirt in the grooves or any grass or slime on the club face there. If you have dirt in the grooves or any grime on the face, well, that's going to get between the ball and the club face there, and it's going to reduce friction. So if we take a close look at the club face here, you can see that the grooves have really become worn out. The edges are sort of rounded off and dulled out. The space between the grooves has lost its luster. It's also pretty worn out. And when you have a club face like this, the ball is just not going to grip the face very well at all. So if your wedge looks like this, it's time for a new one. Now, if we have a look at this club face here, this is a brand new club face. You can see that the grooves are a little bit larger in volume, and there's no dulling to the edges of them. And if you look very closely, you can see that there's a little bit of a corduroy type look, or a milled look between the grooves there. And that's really where the spin is going to come from. You also need to have a closely mown, clean, dry lie. So if you have any moisture on the grass, that moisture is going to get between the ball and the club face. And if you're playing out of the rough, you're also going to get grass between the ball and the club face. So you need to have a premium golf ball, a premium wedge with sharp grooves and a fresh milled face. You need to have a clean, dry lie with no moisture. Now, oddly enough, most people think that it's the grooves on the club face that are what are responsible for creating all the spin. But that's only true when there's moisture, or if you're in the rough. Those grooves serve to channel out any moisture or move aside any of the gunk in there, and that helps create a little bit more grip. So if you think of treads on a car tire, when you're driving in wet conditions, it helps channel the moisture out of there so that you have more rubber on the road. If you were playing from a clean, dry fairway lie, research has shown that you could actually spin the ball more if you had no grooves with milling on it. So again, you think of a piece of sandpaper, the more grip you have, the more friction you're going to have. That's why the drag racing cars have those wide tires with no grooves on them. They want to get as much rubber on the road for grip as they possibly can. So it's very important that before you hit these wedge shots that you have a clean, dry club face also. In fact, a great idea is to keep a towel right down next to you there, and after you're finished making your practice swings, just give the club face a little wipe on the towel to get any moisture or gunk that might be off the face on. So if you can remember to play with a premium ball, get a nice brand new wedge with a milled face and sharp grooves, and hit some off of a nice tight clean lie, you can learn how to really hit those low spinning zippers in there. So thanks very much for tuning in, and until next time, have a great day.